wokeism? I guess we should start with that.
I think wokeism is a pejorative term that's used to describe left-wing cultural politics.
Right. And what do you think left-wing cultural politics are?
I'd say left-wing cultural politics include just the broad attitudes towards social justice, especially for minority groups that have faced persecution in various ways.
Okay, so I think the simplest way to define wokeism is
Yeah, shouldn't you be defining that, Dave? Is your statement.
collectivism on steroids, and usually as it applies to race and gender, meaning that you should be judged based on the color, you actually should be judged based on the color of your skin and your sexuality and your gender and a whole bunch of immutable characteristics. And depending on where those fall on the left's kind of hierarchy of importance, that's kind of how you can parse out where people should be and how important their ideas are.
So even assuming your characterization to be an accurate characterization, which I don't necessarily take.
Right, we're going to have a lot of trouble getting to a fair agreement on
that
wokeism.
Wokeism has, for example, skyrocketed inflation to outpace wage growth the way that Donald Trump's war of aggression on Iran has done. Can you demonstrate that wokeism has violated the First Amendment by arresting students and faculty members on college campuses?
Okay, well, yes, I can. So let's start. Well, first off, the disaster.
Wokeism arrested students on college campuses is awesome. Great. I can't wait.
If Donald Trump wanted to prevent the Islamic Republic of Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, he could have just stuck with the Iran nuclear deal that he ripped up. Iran did not enrich past the 3.67. Wait, they didn't enrich past the 3.67% agreed upon in the JCPOA. They only got to 60% after Donald Trump left that deal and then started doing.
Dave is so good. That's a great way to debate. Unbelievable tactics, Dave. You're not even doing the nuh-uh.
A leap of faith, right? You want to trust but verify.
Can I respond to that?
Sure.
So the IAEA and U.S. intelligence said that Iran did not enrich past the 3.67% prior to Donald Trump ripping up and stepping out of the Iran nuclear deal in I believe it was 2017, 2018
so again,
when he did that.
In these negotiations,
because Donald Trump ripped up the Iran nuclear deal to begin with, that's the only reason.
I do think that like right-wing commentary has actually lost this sauce because like at least there's stuff that you can say here against the JCPOA. It's kind of like in a court case, in a civil proceeding, or even in like in a criminal case, like there is still an argument that defense will put up, right? And if you at least do the reading, you can like internalize the argument that the defense is making. You don't have to just like take whatever the result was at face value. But these guys don't even do the reading. So with the JCPOA, like so many of these guys have just given up on finding like good talking points that could at least like throw the average left-wing person in a loop. They've just given up on it entirely. So they just go, nuh-uh. That's it. It's fairly indefensible what Trump did with JCPOA, but at least you could just like, I don't know, dignify your interlocutors by doing a little bit of reading on what the correct positions are that you could put forward as a Republican and say like, well, Iran was still funding weapons to Hezbollah and like the sanctions relief ended up sending money to Iran that Iran could then redirect over to the axis of resistance, like things like that. There was a higher quality of right-wing slopaganda back in the day, and these guys have completely given up on it. Like they don't even want to know the correct talking points. It's crazy. It's actually shocking. I could do a better job of arguing a Republican position and make it convincing than these dickheads can. Grifters don't even want to work anymore. It's crazy. It makes me kind of mad. Here, the real argument that you should be presenting here is that the JCPOA was established on shaky ground. We can't rely on a multilateral commitment from our foreign adversaries like China and Russia. The International Atomic Energy Agency was in the pocket of the European Union. We can't trust them either. And then all of the Obama era sanctions relief opened up new pathways for the Iranian economy to bloom in the hands of the European markets, and then they could take all of that money and all of the components that they can now get off of the newly opened up pathways and build those missiles that pummeled Israel, that pummeled American military bases. Like, I don't know. like that. You could then turn around and say Obama shipped pallets of cash to Iran, and then that cash went directly into the hands of Hezbollah, directly into the hands of the Axis of Resistance. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many lies that you could at least say that would come across more convincing than you know what I mean? That's his answer. That's not an answer. That's not even a sentence. That's not even words. You're just making mouth noises.
That they didn't have a nuclear weapons program. They were enriching past the point that they were allowed to for civilian use. Everyone knows that. But
yes, it was a point of leverage in order to get sanctions relief. You idiot. That's the reason why they stopped enriching past the point of civilian usage with the JCPOA, proving once again that the diplomatic solution is the only solution with Iran, for better or for worse, which is the point that he's making, and he's right.
But do you understand a weaponization process is different than just enriching?
Do you think the Iranian regime...
And this is also before we even factor in a delivery system, okay? Iran has personally restricted their weapon systems to reach maybe like Hungary, okay? It does not, they don't have missiles, launching platforms, nor the systems that could go anywhere around the world, even if they were to deliver a nuclear, even if they were to be able to generate and create a nuclear weapon, which there was a fatwa for, and big L on behalf of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei there, but, you know, they had the fatwa regardless, and they followed through on it. The only reason why they enriched beyond the point of civilian usage was specifically to bring back the United States to the negotiations process and to get sanctions relief. But they don't even have the delivery systems that that they need to also design and develop.
Before this war, the Iranian regime that has oppressed the people of Iran for 40 years.
Also, what the does that have to do with wokeism? You have yet to explain the damage that wokeism caused as opposed to Trumpism.
Do you think that was a good regime? Would you say that was a good government? Would you like to live under those people? Were they progressive in it?
Wait a minute. They're anti-woke. Iran killed woke. That's what the Iranian revolution was about. Killing woke. Shouldn't you be happy? Why can't they kill woke? Why is it only good if America kills woke? Iran has thoroughly dismantled woke. I thought that's what you wanted. It's because they're not white, it's woke. Oh, okay. So if the brown guys are anti-woke, then it's bad. Okay, I didn't realize.
Anyway, do they hold any of the...
Yeah, when they say Mark bar America, Mark bar Israel, they're also saying Mark bar wokeism. That's what they're saying, bro. They're saying that in the parliament, bro. Galabaf. Iran is a nation of autistic chuds who are unbelievably well educated. Okay? They're all engineers. They all saw battle when they were like 13, and they all hate woke. They love building munitions, okay? They love building platforms. They love building launchers that are single use if necessary, and they tackled woke.
Values that any of you guys hold?
No, but we don't just start wars on countries whose politics we disagree with or who are oppressive to their own people. We're actually an ally to Saudi